question. Does anybody know what this symbol is?
It's QR
code.
Okay, do you guys know what a QR code stands for? If not, that's okay. I'll tell you. Okay, so QR codes are quick response codes. So basically, does anybody know how to use them? Anybody?
Okay, so you scan it on your phone and then, or on any whatever device, and it'll bring up whatever page is correlated with that code.
Yeah, so everybody hear her? So basically, you'll scan it. You'll see them sometimes if you go out in the Union, I think there's some on campus, and sometimes parks will have them, or if you're walking through the store and you want to find out a price or something like that, they'll have them standing around so you can find out different information. All right, so I'm Shelby.
I'm Kaylee.
And our project was working at the Simpson Garden Park, and that's here in Bowling Green. It's one of the Wood County Park Reserves too, Nikki and Molly touched up on. And basically our goal was to find out how to create QR codes so that when people came to the nature preserve, they could scan them and find out more information about different plants in the healing garden. And we met once a week with John. And basically we talked to him about what we could do to improve the QR codes and see what we could do, what information was necessary for the people that were just coming there, or if there's groups of students coming with a teacher, and what they could do while they're there. And it was kind of independent on our own. Kaylee and I would sometimes get together, or we would just do information by ourselves and then put it on a Word document.
Oh, okay. So our task was basically to collect information from the garden, what type of plant it was. They have, at the garden, they have it grouped by healing. So if you have something wrong with your head, you go to this section, or if you have digestive, it's in another section. And then we put all of this information into an Excel sheet, a very, very large Excel sheet, because we had to not only include the name of the plant, we also had to include the website that we found the information, all the information that we found about that plant, what it helped with, all those sorts of things, and also a picture of the QR code. And then pretty much the goal of it was to create QR codes for the entire garden and allow people who had access to the garden to use those. And the readings encouraged to inform ourselves, so we basically had to do everything on our own. We didn't have much help. John came to us and he said, here is what we think will help you, and a lot of that was things that couldn't help us because we had to have information that matched what they had in the garden. So if we found information and it was useful, and we checked their database to see what they had, where the plants were located in their garden, and if it didn't match, we really couldn't use the information because it would kind of counteract each other. So we did a lot of research on our own and a lot of reading. You had to go through pages and pages of information about the plants.
Also, one thing about QR codes is typically they have to be an internet source. So at the Simpson Garden Park, there is a Wi-Fi connection that branches out throughout the entire park, which is really nice. But if we had a book and there was some information that was in the book that we wanted to use, it's hard to transfer that information unless it's an online PDF file or something like that. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, so if you had to use a book or something, you would have to scan the page, put it into a PDF file, and hope that it didn't get deleted from the computer or that they could actually access the computer still. So it was hard to deal with anything other than an internet source. The QR codes are easy to create though. They actually have websites or apps. If you download the app, you may even be able to create a QR code there. The specific facts for these particular plants though were not, as I had said earlier, they were not easy to find. But the results of finding displayed connections between many of the plants we had to find these plants, and a lot of them did the same thing. So for these two, the Camille and the yarrow are both anti-inflammatory. So a lot of the plants have the same purpose, or a lot of the plants have multiple different purposes, so they can be used for a wide variety of things.
Okay, so before we tell you kind of what we learned ourselves, we passed out a couple of papers. So any of you that do have QR code readers on your phones, try and get next to somebody or a group together, so that way you can scan the code is the first thing you're going to do. And once you scan the code, you're going to look for the information and figure out what plant goes in the category.
Yeah, so this is kind of what we did. We had to make all those QR codes for the different websites that we used, and then link them to the specific plant that it went to. So you can pick, you start with a shipwreck, and you pick one of the three and try to find a plant that will help you with one of the three scenarios that are in the flowchart. When you scan the first page, you have to scroll down a little bit and look at the plant list, because you can't obviously link it to a PDF like we had said earlier. It's a little bit more challenging than just linking it to the website.
Did you guys figure it out?
Yeah, there's about 63 pages, so a lot of the plants can be used for multiple different things, so don't feel like you have to read through all 63 pages to find something. Yeah, there should be one in the first couple pages that relates to that. Yeah, so any one of those three. So yeah, find one of those three.
Oh, I just saw one about
You guys figured it out?
what's the last scenario?
Here, if you go down to the plant list, it could be, that'll give you an idea.
Here you go.
You guys finding everything okay? Yeah?
Yeah. But like you said, if you want to do something, you get
Okay guys, has every group kind of found at least one of them? Yeah? So what are some of them that you found? Anybody? Any plants? Yeah, Todd.
The yarrow for open wound.
Okay, yeah. Nicole?
The European silver fir for the cough.
Okay. You wanna? Yeah.
Common maidenhair for cough.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Anyone else? Anyone find something different?
There should be like a lot of different results for all of them.
So you could find a lot of different plants that go with the same one, and it was a little bit easier to deal with the garden because they only had certain plants actually growing there, so it was a little less confusing to try to find all these different plants. So pretty much what I learned was how important some of these plants are in medicine. You walk around, you see grass or you see flowers, and you don't really realize that, before big time medicine, a lot of people use these plants to remedy a lot of things that we do now, and that you can still use. And a lot of it was how to actively involve the students in research-based activity, because a lot of what Shelby and I did was kind of what you did, and we had to think of scenarios and we had to link those to the plants that were in the garden so that these students could go through and they could actually be able to use the plants and get something from that. And I also had to learn how to deal with the possibility of failure, and also the possibility that you are going to be on your own a lot. There were a lot of things that we found, and then at one point we found this great website, and in a week it was down off the internet and you couldn't use it, and every QR code that we had made was not useful anymore. So something like that you just have to learn how to deal with, and that was definitely something that I got. And also how important technology is to be competitive. a garden is now wanting technology because the outside world is all technology, so they're trying to keep up with everyone else.
And for myself, basically, in a nutshell, I just learned that there's different ways to include science in my classroom with a creative way. Like the students could go out and like see nature. It's close to town, like where my homeschool was, so there's like really a lot of different places we could go and like look at different plants and just be able to let them use their creativity. I mean, I'm sure everyone started at a different point. Maybe like some people started at the top one, the middle one, whatever made sense to you. And just be able to like gain an appreciation for the plants and what they do for our bodies. And then basically learn that lessons don't always go as you plan. Sometimes they take longer, sometimes they're going as well, and then something fails. So that's what we learned. Do you guys have any questions about our project or anything? Yep.
Was that be accessed like outside of using the QR codes?
The websites can be, and I don't know exactly how they're planning on using the QR codes in the garden, if they're going to have like a website that you can go to, but there are, the websites that we use are all websites that you can find just by looking.
But not like the compilation that you came up with?
Yeah, they use that. What we actually came with, the Excel file, they are using that themselves to be able to actually post the QR codes throughout the garden.
But they're not available right now.
Yeah.
Anybody else?